And we'll start with a prayer. God, give me your thoughts and my words. Help me to say what you would have me say. Please bless our Celebrate Recovery ministry and give us the wisdom to help others. Amen. My name is Susan. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ who suffers from alcohol, drugs, overeating, and other hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I was born in Houston, raised in Blue Brook Valley with my mother, father, and brother. Both of my parents drank and encouraged us to drink. My mother was physically and emotionally abusive, and my dad was very passive. Mother would stay gone for days or weeks. We never knew how she would act when she came home, so we would all sleep in the same room, hoping she would just go to bed. If she didn't go to bed, she would start beating up on my dad or tear the house up. It was just not good for her. We also had a house on Lake Jacksonville, or on the lake in Jacksonville, Texas, where we would ski, fish, and have great fun. We had real good times and real bad times. We didn't have anything in between. We never had family meals together or normal activity like the neighbors did. My dad's body gave out on him 10 days after his 50th birthday. In 1974, he passed away. I moved out 3 days later for the last time. I married the same year, which lasted 10 years. We did lots of drugs. He dealt for a living. We had hundreds of pounds of pot, ounces of crystal meth, and cocaine. He's now in prison for life. After I divorced him, my next relationship was with a man that got shot and killed over cocaine. I ran with real bad boys. There were not many drugs I hadn't done by the end of my drinking and drugging career. I always worked at easy places. I would quit if it became difficult. If I couldn't keep a fifth in my desk drawer, that wasn't the job for me. I met Troy when I was still able to work, but he wasn't bad enough for me. We dated off and on until he moved to the Virgin Islands. My mother died and left me some money, so I bought a car and some furniture, and the rest I spent on crack. I spent thousands of dollars on crack. I was about to lose my house when Dwayne, a man I grew up with, came to my front door. I didn't call him, and no one I knew called him. I thought it was real strange the way he just showed up, but now I know that God sent him. He did prescription drugs and drank, so I quit doing crack because he was willing to get me out of financial trouble if I would marry him. He had never been married and was financially very well off. He said when we were growing up, one day we would get married. He was very controlling, and I didn't love him. I realized very quickly money could not buy happiness, and we split up 3 months later. I knew I loved Troy, but I didn't know I was in love with him until I found out what love was not. When Troy got back from the Virgin Islands, we got back together, and we've been married since August 20th of 1993. At 40, I went into the hospital with pancreatitis. They told me if I didn't quit drinking, they would have to remove my pancreas, and the alcohol would go straight to my liver and I would die. So I quit drinking and just drugged for the next 3 years, and I got better physically. One night I decided I was cured and I had a drink. The next 2 years I had to drink every day, all day long. The phenomenon returned. I couldn't work a real job, and I could barely drive at all. Finally, my health started getting bad again, and I was at the jumping off place. I couldn't live with alcohol, and I couldn't live without it. I remember standing in the closet saying, if there is really anything out there, I can't do this on my own, I need help. Up to this point, I had never considered a higher power. I knew nothing about God or prayer. I was spiritually dead. After a chain of events, I entered into a rehab. There they sent me to AA, and there I heard about God. AA told me every morning I get up to pray, God, please keep me clean and sober without the desire to drink or drug. After saying that prayer, I believed God was going to keep me from drinking, and I've not found it necessary to take a drink yet, since August 24th of '98, going on 14 years. This was the first prayer I memorized. God, please keep me clean and sober without the desire to drink or drug. When I was growing up, we never went to church, prayed, or even mentioned God in our house. so this was all new to me. I'm a hunter, and I would sit in the deer stand and I would say, I feel stupid doing this, but they told me to recite prayers to you, so here goes. I would memorize and recite prayers in order to begin building a relationship with God. When I was in rehab, I would always follow the administrator around after our drug test, thinking that I still had value in my system because I wasn't seeing pink elephants or dying from no alcohol. It had been since high school since I had gone a day without something to alter the way I felt. I found out in AA that was the grace of God, God doing for me what I could not do for myself. I got a sponsor and worked the steps. Through working the steps, I learned to forgive my mother. I learned to look at the good she did, and I also learned to put some of the blame on my dad for allowing her to do the things that she did. It's such a wonderful feeling, letting go of that hate. It takes a weight off your body you don't realize you have until it's gone. Through the steps of AA, I also quit smoking with the same prayer I used to quit drinking and drugging, which is, God, please keep me from smoking without the desire of a cigarette. After saying this prayer, I believed God would remove the desire to smoke, and I'm happy to say I've not had a cigarette since March 17th of '99, over 13 years. Which is what killed my dad. And I remember telling my brother right before one of my surgeries that I didn't want to die like my dad. And he told me, Susan, Dad didn't have God in his life, and you do. You're not going to die. I believed God was going to cure me, and I've been cancer-free for 5 years. When I started AA, I knew I wanted to know more about God and to show him how much I appreciate my sobriety. I love AA, but they keep it simple and only teach God. They don't teach you about Jesus Christ. Troy said he thought we had a friend that quit drinking and was going to church, so he called him and I started going to Elam. Elam is a good church with over 1,000 members, but it's a feel-good place with no accountability. You can come and go and no one knows if you're there or not. My brother-in-law was still drinking and we were not getting along. He started coming to Lifebridge and quit drinking. I didn't think God could fix an alcoholic unless he was in AA, but Lifebridge proved that wrong. I told my husband, I can't change Thomas. I can only change myself, so I'm going to start going to his Bible study so maybe we can start getting along better. I'm happy to say Troy, his sister Tanya, and Thomas all come to Lifebridge and are one big happy family. When we started coming to church, we had only talked about what God was doing for me. Troy used to tease me and say, I'm sure glad you go to church because I like reaping the benefits of it. Now we both attend Lifebridge. We pray together every day. We attend Wednesday night Bible study and Sunday night church every week. We are leaders of the newcomers meeting for Celebrate Recovery. This has brought us so much closer together, and our love for Christ, our love for life grows every day. John 10:10 says, the thief comes only in order to steal and kill and destroy. I come that they may have and enjoy life and have it in abundance. This is definitely true for me today. There are not enough hours in the day now. I love life when before I had God and Jesus Christ in my life, I just wanted to die. God gave me a wonderful job in which I have not been able to work for years. He has given me many blessings, another one being showing me the truth about love and saving my relationship with Troy. I would pray for just a small piece of land on the lake, and now we have 26 acres on Lake Sam Rayburn, which before I started AA, I didn't even know I was going to pay my truck note. Our friends and family at Lifebridge and many, many more blessings. I have confidence without mind-altering drugs, which God does for me. I have problems, but I go to God with them, and in time they work out, which is teaching me patience. With all this being said, I have to tell you I didn't receive all these blessings from God without a lot of work on my part. In order to quit drinking and drugging, I made an AA meeting every day for over a year, and I still continue to pray and make meetings.
To quit smoking, I exercised and ate carrots to keep my mind and body busy and prayed, which I still do today, to help me not go back to smoking. To overcome my cancer, I did chemo and prayed. I still do the footwork today to stay cancer-free by making my annual doctor appointments. I believe God will do for us what we cannot do for ourselves, but we have to do our part too. Some are sicker than others, and what it took for me may not be what works for you, but you do have to make a decision, then put action behind that decision. We are all responsible for our own recovery, whether it's drugs, alcohol, relationship problems. Just being able to live life on life's terms is hard, but we have to take action to get better. The more I put into my recovery, the more I get out of it. For me, it's not about alcohol and drugs anymore, though I still pray and to stay clean and sober every day, because that's what worked for me in the beginning, and I wouldn't have anything if I didn't have my sobriety. As one of my good friends says, if I were to drink again, I might as well give you my car, my house, and my husband, because I would lose them all if I drank. Today, I want it to be more about others than me. I'm a very selfish person and have many defects, hurts, habits, and hang-ups. To celebrate recovery, I have a chance to get better one day at a time. Matthew 6:11 says, God, give us this day our daily bread, which tells me to live one day at a time. I cannot do anything about yesterday, and if I've done a thorough fourth and fifth step, the past will not haunt me. We can't handle knowing the future, so we have to learn to live in today. If you want what God blesses, if you want God's blessings, do what God blesses. That's what CR is all about, helping others and teaching others to do the same. LifeBridge's motto is, we are a perfect place for imperfect people. I've done things I never thought possible, like having a real job, doing this testimony, and reading out loud. When I started AA, I hadn't read a book in probably 20 years. I couldn't even read when I got to AA. Now Pastor Charlie's got me reading this month, which ought to be interesting. These may not seem much to you, but it's unbelievable to me. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Before I knew Jesus, I would quit anything that got difficult. Now, because of Jesus, I can't quit. Things I fear the most, I have to do to show my love and trust in Jesus. The first year I was in AA, I sat behind a pole. When the leader would call on me, I would pass. I never shared, and now I'm giving my testimony. It is through the power Jesus gives me that I'm able to do these things, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for me. You can have this too if you will let go and let God. I have so many people in my life now that care about me, and I care about them. I learn from everyone here and appreciate you allowing me to give my testimony.